Riviera Minestrone is featured at all Lucky Stores. I told you before that Anthony Newley would be here this afternoon, and he are.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Anthony. I want to talk to you about your movie, the one that I can't pronounce.
Okay, can I do it now?
Yes, do you? We'll have to do it without a drummer.
Okay. Can Hieronymus Merkin ever forget Mercy Hump and find true happiness? It will be appearing shortly, folks, here on May the 7th.
At the Cinema 21.
Right.
I remembered that.
Right, and what's the other, Geneva Drive-In?
The Geneva Drive-In.
Yeah.
Can Hieronymus Hump forget?
Wrong, Jack, wrong. Can Hieronymus Merkin ever forget Mercy Hump and find true happiness?
Was there ever any hesitation about a simple, easy-to-remember title like that?
You mean, would there have been an alternative?
Yes.
Yeah, Jack. I thought of calling it Bullet or Point Blank, but none of them worked. Hieronymus Bullet. Now, I love titles that have their own thing, have their own life of their own, like Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Everybody said, you're mad. But, it passed into the language, And I often see things like Stop
Roar.
the Store, I Want to Go In, and, then The Roar, the Grease Paint, which I don't think was quite as good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think last night when we taped the television show, someone in the audience asked how many movies you had done to date, and you said how many?
I'm not quite sure. Over 40, though.
Over 40
Over
films.
40, yeah. Nearly 50 movies.
And you started when you were 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made a children's serial when I was 14. And the reason that I think they chose me was because I had no experience. It was supposed to be a little Cockney kid. And at the time, I was a little Cockney kid, and that was the first thing. And then I did, Oliver Twist and Vice Versa and a whole string of pictures.
Are you really Cockney?
Yeah.
By definition, Cockney is someone born within the sound of the Bow Bells.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. I'm not quite sure how big an area that is, but probably about 10 square miles.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of us, a lot of Cockneys.
Last night on the television show, well, actually, it wasn't on the television show. We were talking about songs that you had written by yourself, and, not by yourself, but with Leslie Bricusse.
Leslie Bricusse, yeah.
And I told you that one of my very favorites was kind of an obscure song because nothing really, you said nothing happened to it.
It's extraordinary that you should have picked it up. I mean, it's very perceptive of you. I like it, but it never did anything. Probably because the version wasn't very good. But as I said to you then, it was a kind of a country and western before country and western. Is it country and western? No, it's more like it's a country song, isn't it?
I don't think so. I don't know. Let's listen to it. You don't have to run. You have a few minutes. I mean, you're going to be
happy to be here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let's do it. Has it been a while since you've heard that?
Ages. It's really a revelation to me. I even sang different then.
You did.
It was very voguey then to sing Cockney, Yeah. And I was really laying it on. I was a professional Cockney then. It's funny. I haven't heard that record for years. It's extraordinary. Thank you.
I love that song. I always have.
I'm going to sing that again, Jack. Really?
Really?
I'd like to include that. And if I ever get employment as a singer, I'd like to. Yeah.
You did 2 numbers on the television taping last night, and the producer came over and said, "That kid's good. We might sign him."
Oh, beautiful. Was that Diamond?
Yes,
Mr.
he
Diamond?
was very impressed. He said,
I liked his suit. Do you notice that sharp suit he was wearing? The all-electric gray suit?
Yes. I'll be back in a minute with Anthony Newley. You're listening to KSFO Radio in San Francisco. Yes, I like that. That was Anthony Newley and The Thrill Is Gone. And was that from the very first album you ever did?
Yeah, this is really a trip down memory lane for me, Jack. Yeah, well, the very first time, and very prettily arranged by a man called Eric Rogers. But again, the first time I'd ever recorded an LP, and it's really wild hearing them again.
Well, now, you started in pictures. How did you get off into the singing bag?
I'd made quite a lot of pictures, and I was signed up to an American called Irving Allen in England, and he put me in 9 pictures, one after another. I was under contract to him, and he built me into what is known as a star. And eventually he said, "Kid, what do you want to do next?" So I said, "Mr. Allen, I'd like to do a story about a rock and roll singer." So he said, "Well," so to cut a long story short, we made a film called Idle on Parade about a rock and roll singer who was called up into the army, but whose manager still wanted him to be a rock and roll star. And it was very funny. It wasn't very well done, but I sang some songs in the movie, and they were released on a record, and overnight the record went to #1. I mean, it was just incredible. And I'd been in the business a long time up until then, making a good living. But suddenly, as a singer, I could do what I liked. What do you want to do? Hamlet. It's incredible. The singer is the hero today, and that's how it all started. I sang these songs in the movie, and from then on, it was all the singing suddenly became the key to everything. I got my own TV series, and I did specials and tours and everything. But it really is true. Get yourself a record if you want to be a star, folks.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah. And I'd been in the business for 100 years up until that point. And as I say, but worked consistently, always made a living. But it wasn't until I got a record that suddenly, you reach so many people as a singer. I mean, it's an automatic entree into, everybody's life. Everybody listens to music. Not everybody watches dancers. Not everybody goes to watch actors. But everybody listens to music.
Because, I can think of so many careers that work just the opposite. So many, take Bobby Darin, who started as a singer.
Right.
As soon as he became an actor, he just completely ignored his recording career and gave up music completely.
I think he thought that was it, I think he thought, I'm a movie star now. Did you see the movie he made with Sidney Poitier? It was on again the other night.
Yes, we played a medical...
that's right, a psycho.
Psycho.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was very good. Very good.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think he neglected his singing. But, Bobby's into so much, this fantastic thing about American performers is that they make a name for themselves, and suddenly the manager says, kid, we're going to buy a building, and we're going to build a road, and we're going to, and suddenly they're businessmen, You can't do it. You have to have a guy who just takes all that off your back so that you can just be beautiful and create and sing. And
well, doesn't it work that way in England, for example?
No, because you're not as highly serviced there as you are here. Every star here has his own hairdresser, shoe cleaner, and a whole coterie of people around him. And I think this blocks them off eventually, from the world. And
they lose touch.
Yeah, and they become too busy being entrepreneurs. They're not. They're artists. They're creators. They shouldn't be all caught up in that. I try to do that, like producing, directing, starring, selling popcorn. I mean, what are you trying to prove? I mean, an actor isn't that clever. None of us are. Our bit is to entertain,
Is a star, is the life of a star, say in England, a movie star, is it the way we would imagine, similar to the life of a movie star in the United States?
Oh, no, Jack. I think, very broadly, and we can only talk like this, it's very dissimilar. I mean, in England, you can still lead a very normal life as a celebrity. I mean, really. I mean, in Hollywood, there's so much, and in America generally as a star, there's so much that goes with it, And I often think that it does stop us keeping in touch, we represent our time, we should be hip to everything that's happening. And then if that means riding on a bus or on the ground, that too is part of it, It frightens me about stars. They disappear so quickly in this country.
Well, John Wayne can't ride on a bus, for example. John Wayne can't go to a baseball
because he may touch a communist or a socialist.
Well, aside from the political thing, but I mean, they'd pester him to death.
No, yes, quite. Yes, that's a very reasonable answer.
Is an entertainer, an actor in England, on a par? And I don't mean socially. Well, socially would be part of it. Is an entertainer, an actor in England, in a position when they are successful in their field to do what an actor like Ronald Reagan has done here in California? Is an actor that well thought of, for example, that he could go into politics and would be in politics? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. There are several TV personalities in England that have become members of Parliament, quite successfully too. I mean, don't forget that the man who is our representative in this country, our ambassador here, used to be a TV personality, Freeman. That's how he started. He was a journalist, and then he went onto TV as an interviewer and was very good. And now he's our ambassador to America. But I don't know of any actors in England who've become... Yes, I do. There's a bearded... One actor I know became a member of Parliament, like a senator or the equivalent here. No, not a senator. What do you have? What is a representative?
Congressman?
A congressman, yeah. Yeah. That's. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's relatively new here, isn't it?
I would say, and it's been 10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
Who's that guy, Robert? Somebody, the actor who wants to run for president. What's his name? There's
an actor.
Yeah. Who's in? He's the
Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn.
I didn't know he wanted to be president.
Yeah. Oh, very badly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or King, one or the other.
How you doing, God? You want a replacement? Yeah.
Pick a record. We're
Pick a
going
record.
through a bunch of LPs that Tony
This
said
is such fun for me, Jack. I haven't enjoyed myself in years. Could we play Yes, We Have No Bananas?
Let's play Yes, We Give
Oh,
It
no,
to-
sorry. Guys, can I change my mind? Pop Goes the Weasel. This
All
was very large for me, Jack, in England about 8-9 years ago. And to me, it reminds me of that phase of my life when I was being funny on record. You know, I was singing funny songs. And England said, give us more, give us more.
Go on. And you did this 8 years ago.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tony Newley, Pop Goes the Weasel.
Half
12 minutes before 3 o'clock. Tony Newley is here.
And Aaron. Are you going to
And Aaron Edwards just walked in. How are you, Aaron?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Aaron's fine.
When does Kay Stevens come?
Kay Stevens.
How did we get into that?
I don't know.
I mean, out of
I'm
nowhere.
just remembering a beating I got with a chicken last night.
Oh,
I
I
didn't see that. He wasn't there.
Linda's cheap.
I want to talk about the movie, too. And Pete Scott was just here. He saw the movie.
Yeah, what was his remark?
I think he liked it.
Yeah.
You wanna know
He
what's it
looked
about?
puzzled, though, didn't he?
He said, what was it?
What was it about?
Yeah.
It's difficult when the guy who saw the movie comes to you and says, what was it about? Now I know we're in trouble.
Didn't you appear in this movie in the All Together?
Yeah, very briefly. Very briefly.
Just one scene.
Mm-hmm. Not through any mad lust to show my body, but because that's the way it was. I mean, his alter ego, we all have this thing sometimes of stepping outside ourselves and suddenly watching ourselves. You know, I do. I watch myself a lot. And this guy, Hieronymus Merkin, has this ability to step outside and watch himself. And he does. I played myself stepping outside myself, and I leave myself on the screen as a mask. It's rather difficult to explain. And I couldn't very well wear jockey shorts as my alter ego, could I?
No.
You'll see the wisdom of that, Jack.
Yes.
So I had to appear in the buff. But it was kind of fun directing the movie with no clothes on. The Maltese workmen thought it was very amusing. As you know, they don't get to see a lot of that in Malta. Hi, folks. We're just going off the air in a minute.
When you say you've appeared in Malta, you've appeared in Malta.
All over. Oh, yeah.
I wonder if I can do it yet. Can Hieronymus Merkin
Ever forget
Mercy Hump, and
find
find true happiness?
We really must think about this, Jack.
Yeah.
It's a question that's deep to all our heart.
And I think it's interesting, too, that your wife appeared in the picture, and so did your two children.
Yeah. The kids didn't really know it was happening, you know. It was all shot on a beach, you know.
Yeah.
It all takes place near the sea. And we'd just pull the kids away from the sea when they were needed and sat them down. And my daughter, who's a natural, I just tell her what to say, and she'd say it. So really, it was quite painless for the kids.
What are they, 3 and 5? Or
3.5 and 5.5, yeah.
3.5 and 5. You're a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
The boy's name is Sasha?
Sasha, yeah, and Tara.
Yeah.
So
Let me pause for a minute. Anthony Newley is here. The silver... Available at your local record dealers. Tony, you make your home in Los Angeles. I guess you've heard a lot about the earthquake.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's kind of extraordinary. Do you think we're in for it?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
But, I mean, we keep on having tremors, don't we? There was one yesterday. Oh, the day before? Yes.
Here or there?
There, I
In
think.
Southern California.
Yeah. Where they live.
Where they live. Where you live.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember hearing about earthquakes in London or England. I don't think they have
No, I don't think we're on that in that area. That's kind of weird, though. You heard that song about you're falling into the sea? You know, that Calypso?
Shango doing by what way?
Is that
I'm
nice?
floating away or
Yeah.
Shango. Yeah, but what's the
Shango.
name of the song? You remember, Chuck? What?
It's called
Oh,
Shango.
Oh, I thought Shango was the group that did it. Oh, the song is called Shango.
I don't think the song is called Shango, but...
I don't
it's good
either,
fun.
but you can't argue with him. They got such a strong union.
Oh, and he's got his hand on the button, hasn't he? There goes Aaron, folks. Still looking for Connie Stevens.
What would you call, if you had to categorize, what would you call yourself? You've done so much. You've done, everything from writing to composing to singing to acting. Do you feel that there's one long suit, one area that you particularly like or want to be associated with or function best in?
I mean, I started life as an actor, and until recently, I didn't think I was a very good actor. But I think I've learned a few wrinkles in the last couple of years, which I think I could possibly give a very good performance if I got a good part. I like singing enormously. I like singing more than anything, actually. I mean, there is no feeling like standing in front of 50 men and singing. I mean, there really is nothing like it. As a writer, I'm not very good. As a songwriter, it's really a hobby with me. I guess my forte really is as an actor and a singer. But I like doing all these other things. But I don't think I'm really qualified in any one area to make a living as any one thing. I don't know what do you call a man who does many things. An idiot most of the time.
The song is called Day by Day.
Day by Day is the name of the song. Thank you, man.
Shango.
See,
We were right.
We were right. But you'd rather sing than anything.
And I get a bigger kick out of singing there. I may be going up to Vegas in July.
As a singer, you're on stage. Yeah.
I've had a contract to appear at Caesar's Palace now for 2 years, and I haven't used it because I've always been doing something. But I'd like to stand up there in the smart midnight blue and hear the noise of forks hitting plates and waiters hitting doors. I mean, the money is incredible up there, just incredible.
$100,000 a week isn't unusual.
They print their own up there. I mean, when they suggested the contract, I couldn't believe it. I signed it because I couldn't believe that much money.
You know, with just what little I've done with the television show, I sit and watch that television show and I squirm and I sweat and I hate it and I hate me. Do you ever do that looking at films that you've done?
Oh, yeah. There's no other way, Jack. We can't be as good as we want ourselves to be. There's no way. And I think it says something for you that you do. You know, you do find it uncomfortable to watch yourself. I can't think of any performer worth his salt who is satisfied with himself. I mean, because our dream is so much higher than we can possibly attain.
You sometimes say, I didn't do that.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, I didn't. Oh. And then you think, I laugh too much. And then, why don't I? Oh, I hate watching myself. I'm going to watch myself on your show.
Are you?
Tomorrow night. Oh, yeah. It's a form of self-abuse.
Do you get the same feeling listening to your voice recorded that you do watching yourself on film? Do you get uncomfortable sometimes, even about songs?
Yes. I mean, you could go on recording a song until you were blue in the face, And I don't know if recording, sometimes you go into a recording booth and it happens straight away, but so rarely. You chase a song for take after take after take, and it never gets any better. I'm just beginning to realize that attitude is everything in singing a song. I used to go into a booth and sing the heart out of the microphone, but that's not the point. The point is, what is your attitude to the song? And I'm just realizing that that's pretty well the whole thing. I mean, anybody can sing, and anybody can make a record, but anybody. The thing is, what is your attitude to the words and the music? And I know when I make my next LP, I'm going to be very aware that each song deserves an attitude, an emotional attitude on the part of the singer. Because I'm not a quirky singer. I don't have a sound, apart from that sort of Cockney nasal twang thing. But, I was thinking about Connie Francis the other day. Connie Francis had the first woman's mic technique I ever heard, because she has a very small voice. But that crying thing she gets in her voice? That was pure technique. But I, as a singer, don't have that. And it's got to be something else,
Can you do a torch song? How do you put yourself in the mood? Well, wait, we've got a break for the news.
Right.
We'll be back in a minute or two. Anthony Newley is here. This is Jack Carney. We got 12 minutes after 3 o'clock. Richard, are you there? Ready?
12 minutes after?
12 minutes. You ready to go on?
Yeah.
Okay. You know who's here with me, don't you?
Who?
The limey Jew, Anthony Newley.
Hi, Anthony.
How are you, Dickie, dear?
Pretty good to hear from you. I was going to come up there,
Yeah?
but I can't make it up by the time the show's off.
Good to talk to you.
What are you doing in town?
I just came in to sell my dirty movie.
Your dirty movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got back from Florida, and it's been released there for a long time. It's in drive-ins and everything.
It's all over.
Wait a minute. Wait.
It's like flu.
Pardon me, girls. I'm going to give Dickie the acid test. You know Tony's new movie, don't you, Dickie?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
What's the name of it?
Can, Hieronymus Merca, Never Forget, Mercy, Help to Find True Happiness.
The check will be in the post in the morning, Dick.
You rehearsed him.
No, I didn't. It took me about 10 times to remember it, but once you remember it, you'll never forget it.
Thanks, Dick.
Hey, the lines in the drive-ins were miles long.
Oh, great. Coming out or going
in,
Dick?
A lot of young children.
A lot of young children.
Family rates. Oh, Florida, you know.
We're on the radio, or we're up until a minute ago.
That's funny. How are you driving, Dick?
Oh, pretty good, you know. Well, you saw me after I won Sebring.
Yeah.
This is my next race.
Oh, that's beautiful. Are you racing in this, or are you watching?
I was watching, and then 2 days ago I said, if I come up and watch, I'm not much of a driver, so I called everybody up and said, get my car up there.
Oh, good boy.
So I'm going to race Saturday and Sunday.
Great. How is your power-mad brother? Is he okay?
Yes, my brother's fine. You know, nothing has been happening much the last couple of months.
I guess you're unemployed now, right?
Yes, it's a very nice state of affairs. I'm collecting $61 or $65.
That doesn't keep you in gas, does it?
No, it doesn't keeps me sort of semi-gas.
What about the... No, I think he meant for the car.
Oh.
Thanks, Dick. We're still on the air, aren't we, Dick?
Hey,
this is the Anthony Newley Show. Send your complaints right to him.
I don't want your letters.
Hey, Jack, what's happening up here?
Oh, nothing very much. Everybody's looking forward to the races next 2 days at Laguna Seca. Listen, they're racing Grand Prix cars for the first time this year on Sunday, right?
Well, no. The first time was last year when we were up here, and my driver, Lucille, won that race, and he won the championship of the series last year in the last race. Now this year it's the second race of the season, and there's about 8 more. And this will be the first race I'll be racing this year of that type. And it should be very, very exciting. These cars, fact is, to give you some idea how fast they are, John Cannon won down at Riverside 2 weeks ago faster than Dan Gurney won the Rex Mays in the Indianapolis cars. Faster average.
I had John Cannon on the show 2 days ago.
Did he finally show up?
Great. Sure he showed up.
I heard he
drove all the way.
He drove all the way.
He's Canadian, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, people who might want to see it or haven't, the weather is supposed to be fantastic, and it's very exciting racing, and they could watch me motor around very slowly. My rusty racer.
Dick, how far is it from San Francisco?
Oh, it's about 2 hours south.
2 hours?
Monterey.
You mean driving?
Yeah. Flying, it's only about 20 minutes. Isn't it,
Tony, have you seen pictures of these cars with the wing on them? They have this thing.
Oh, yeah. What is that called,
That's
Dick?
an airfoil. It's
an
a wing.
airfoil.
It's an upside-down wing.
That's right.
It's designed just like an aircraft wing, but it's turned upside down to give you a downward thrust instead of an upward.
It holds you on the road, right, Dick?
Right, but it has to be very carefully designed. Even on Grand Prix cars in Europe, they fall off occasionally.
They're still having trouble with them, aren't they?
Yeah.
They don't know quite what to attach them to. I read something that said if they attach them to the axle, they have trouble, and if they attach it to the body, they have trouble.
Right, and I was just down at the shop where the kid was making a wing for his car, and I told him, don't let it fall off in front of me. And he says, well, I'll never be in front of you. I said, okay, when I'm lapping you, don't let it fall off. I don't know what to expect. Hey, you know, Jack, we were negotiating, you know, and thinking about moving our show up here before we got canned.
I knew that.
We were really looking forward to it. It would have been a great thing, I think, for the city and a great shot in the arm for the show, too.
Well, is the show a dead issue?
No, it's not a dead issue, but it is for the fall. See, when CBS fired us, they waited until all the other schedules were filled.
That is true, is it, Dick?
Oh, yeah. Well, they picked us up on about the middle of April and fired us 2 weeks later, which is sort of weird.
How do you get, when you have a multi-million-dollar project like the Smothers Brothers television show, how physically do they fire you? Do they put a little pink slip in your pay envelope, or do they...
No, they didn't talk to us or anything. They issued a press release.
That's the first you heard of it? Was in the
I was in, Tommy was in San Francisco, and I was in New York City, and someone called me up. Said, hey, you're fired. What do you think about it? And I didn't know what to say, you know.
Like Jack, I'm surprised. I always think that those things are done with, 4 lawyers in blue suits come to the door and say, Mr. Smothers.
What? They got hundreds of lawyers, and they're all dumb. They really pulled a boner there, and they got themselves into trouble. And I think they're probably prepared to pay the consequence. You know, the issues for firing us are so prefabricated because we showed the show, the question to Jack Gould, the strongest critic. Television, he loved it. Canadian television loved it. The congressman in Washington liked it very much. Nobody saw anything. So obviously it was on their part. They just wanted to get us off the air.
Yeah, it was a cumulative thing that they were getting angrier and angrier all the time.
A little bit, but what did it? Tony, was Tommy going to Washington and talking to these FCC guys. They realized he wasn't just a temperamental little entertainer. He was serious about...
He's running for president, right?
Well, he was serious about the television and the media.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very important media, and if we could push a little bit and get what we want, then I think more creative people will come back to television. They'll have a greater leeway.
Incidentally, if you joined us late, I'm Jack Carney, and Anthony Newley is here, and we've got Dickie Smothers on the telephone. Dick, is there any chance that you'd go back to CBS? Do you think that, or has it gone too far?
Well, it's probably gone too far because I think they stop with personalities. I just brought a beautiful martini here.
Oh, boy.
They're dealing with personalities there. I think the corporate mind is one of great immaturity and lack of cohesiveness. Now, they're dealing with us as out of spite a little bit, not out of dollars and cents, which is generally their motivating factor. Now, if they would change and give us what was given to us contractually in the first place and what the NAB code stands for, we definitely would do it. You know, we would... we like a lot of the individuals that work for CBS, but they're told what to do. You know, they don't run the show, and evidently it came from the top.
I get the impression, Dick, from things that I've read, that there's a great body of opinion that is, I suppose, behind CBS who dislike young men getting up on television and saying things about the life we lead that one doesn't usually see.
There's always been a body of men in every civilization. It's the people in power, the establishment people, and it's getting more so that way.
Here's a question that I'm sure I'm asking for a lot of people: is did you at all times give the network a fair break as to what you were going to say before you said it? I mean, did they read the script?
Oh, definitely, yes. And they would object tremendously to almost everything.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
It didn't even have to be dirty. And of course, our show was not sexually oriented. No. Our show was more social political.
Yeah.
And but people don't realize this. In most cases, television, you don't have a written contract.
Really?
There's too many little stipulations that have to be ironed out over a period of years that you're generally off the air before your contract is really written.
Wow.
But it works on precedent. You know what I mean? And our contract gave us full creative control.
Yeah.
And they got only normal program practices, and which is things that were and terrible taste and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they kept stepping their contractual thing, and I think there's never been a show on television that had any producers or creators more concerned with the product they put on the screen than the Smothers Brothers Comedy are. We're probably I know we are the most responsible creators of a show that was on the air. Period.
Well, now, Tony Newley, you did a lot of television in England. What about the same sort of thing in England? Was there a form of censorship there?
Yeah, but without sounding nationalistic, the European mentality is a little more open to this kind of thing. I mean, the satire shows in London of the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, they beat the what's it out of politicians and the situation
over there.
I think Dick, I think you're a victim of the almighty change that is happening in this country, and it's going to happen. It's just a pity that you had to be in the forefront.
Well, I don't think I wouldn't say it's a pity. I'm saying it's a blessing. Tommy and I are right where we want to be. The thing
you mean out of work?
No, that doesn't matter. The dollar doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you anymore, I'm sure.
It matters to me, but nobody asked me.
There's a kid here who thinks about it.
The point is, Tony, if we lose and we get off the air and there's nothing coming of it, then television is a closed, dead issue as an art medium. And if we stay on, it's open and alive.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Jack, English television has some terrible shows, but some fantastic shows. They have a format where they give you the opportunity to be great. Our show bombed out terribly over there. In fact, they bought it off as too bland.
Is that right?
Yes. And Tommy, I've always said we're moderates, and we're not. And we're not controversial, but compared to what's on the air, we are.
Quite.
Yeah.
So that's very
about
fair.
it in a nutshell. And the issue's not dead as far as we're concerned. And there's going to be in another 2 to 4 weeks a lot being heard about it.
Dick, did I read somewhere that ABC might take you up?
Well, they're very interested in it, and they want to give us more controls than CBS even thought of.
Yeah.
See, they're hurting, but they're so super sensitive. They're afraid the FCC is going to take this away from their affiliates, and the FCC is not even interested in that. My brother found that out.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing.
Hold on, I have to System Q. This is the CBS Radio Network. Go ahead. Don't worry about my job.
Okay. So anyway, I should really get going pretty soon here. I just want to make sure that people are aware that we have a Grand Prix up here.
And you're going to be driving Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, practice. They have some regional amateur races Saturday, and practice and qualifying is Saturday for the A cars and the B and C Formula cars.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very exciting because that's how the guys get their spot on the grid.
Dick, what are you driving? What kind of car?
It's a Chevron.
A Chevron.
It's made in England. Most of the smaller Formula cars are English Formula 2 cars.
Yeah.
And the big ones, they have a lot of Lolas, which is English, and then we have some Eagles. The Eagles are very strong, and some McLarens, among others. And it is really a most exciting type of racing, and Laguna Seca, for anybody who's been there, is one of the most gorgeous racetracks in the entire country.
Dick, do you get a prize for? Is there a prize for winning?
Yeah, a B car, which is actually we're the preliminary type cars. The winner of the B car will pick up about $2,200.
Oh, that's good.
It's not. It doesn't cover a blown engine by any means or anything like that. But the drivers. There's another thing. The drivers don't race too much for the money because they could probably do pretty well in a lot safer occupation.
But I mean, how do you make a living at it, Dick?
I don't.
But I mean, how does any driver make a living?
Well,
does
you
he have
become
to
a star.
Oh, I see.
You become a racing star. You know, it's like someone in our business, Tony, who's not successful, isn't really making money.
Sunday.
Yeah, practice. They have some regional amateur races Saturday, and practice and qualifying is Saturday for the A cars and the B and C Formula cars.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very exciting because that's how the guys get their spot on the grid.
Dick, what are you driving? What kind of car?
It's a Chevron.
A Chevron.
It's made in England. Most of the smaller Formula cars are English Formula 2 cars.
Yeah.
And the big ones, they have a lot of Lolas, which is English, and then we have some Eagles. The Eagles are very strong, and some McLarens, among others. And it is really a most exciting type of racing, and Laguna Seca, for anybody who's been there, is one of the most gorgeous racetracks in the entire country.
Dick, do you get a prize for? Is there a prize for winning?
Yeah, a B car, which is actually we're the preliminary type cars. The winner of the B car will pick up about $2,200.
Oh, that's good.
It's not. It doesn't cover a blown engine by any means or anything like that. But the drivers. There's another thing. The drivers don't race too much for the money because they could probably do pretty well in a lot safer occupation.
But I mean, how do you make a living at it, Dick?
I don't.
But I mean, how does any driver make a living?
Well,
does
you
he have to
become a
drive?
star.
Oh, I see.
You become a racing star. You know, it's like someone in our business, Tony, who's not successful, isn't really making money. They're making enough to live.
Yeah, sure.
Well, now, John Cannon told me that on one race he won $20,000 last year.
I'm sure that
That was on the side, though, Jack.
I'm sure that it's like a golfer who wins so much for a tournament wins a lot more in the fringe things, accessory benefits. I'm sure John won every bit of that, but his prize money wasn't that much. I don't think. It's really groovy. It's a very glamorous thing to be a star, and that was John Cannon's first big win. And he's liable to be a very important driver. I don't know.
Dick, who's the world racing driving champion?
This year, I think Graham Hill won it.
Graham Hill. What, Dick? Answer me this: Why do most of the top drivers appear to be English?
Well, because of the sport is the Grand Prix. The history of Grand Prix was started about the turn of the century in Europe, and the hotbed of automobile development was in the realm of road racing. That's the way they grew up. Our mentality was towards dirt racing, slam, bang, straight ahead stuff. And just in the last 10 years, the United States, in 5 years, we've been coming on very strong.
Yeah.
We've had a world champion in Phil Hill.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. We have some fine drivers with Dan Gurney, Mario Andretti, who in his first Grand Prix at Watkins Glen, Mario Andretti, never been in a Grand Prix, qualified on the pole ahead of everybody in Europe. So we're coming on. We're just sort of a latent development. And the sport is growing here. Like, I'm a board of director on the new Ontario Motor Speedway in Southern California. It's a $25.5 million development. By far the most, the greatest, the grandest development in motor racing. And if it makes it, it will bring motor racing up to a level like horse racing was one time, where it was outhouses and dirt tracks, you know, bleachers.
Yeah.
it got a lot of class somewhere along the line.
Mm.
And we're hoping this does it to motorsports.
Mm. Well, Dick, good luck Saturday and Sunday both at Laguna Seca.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys aren't doing anything, we're going to be eating at you guys dig Japanese food?
Oh, some of my best friends do.
Eat Japanese food?
Where are you going?
We're going to Mingeya. You know that one?
Yeah, up on Union Street.
Oh, that's worth a free meal, if anything.
No, I'm not plugging him. But one time, Lou, I'm here with Lou Sell, one of my drivers and his wife. Lou got hurt in an accident last year, Indianapolis type race, and he's recovering pretty well. Mm-hmm. And one time we were sitting around at a Mexican restaurant in L.A. getting sort of bombed out on margaritas, and we said, hey, let's go to Mingeya. So we jumped on the airplane, came up to San Francisco for dinner, and then came home. It was just so groovy. It's one of the best Japanese restaurants I've ever been.
When are you going to? Right now?
Oh, I'm trying to call them, but evidently they're not open yet.
They haven't heard about it now. They never.
Yes.
No, I figured we'd go about 7:30, or whatever. It's early because I have to get my sleep because I drive down to Monterey in the morning and qualify at 10:30.
Is Japanese food like Chinese food an hour afterwards?
No, but I found a funny thing. I've been eating so much, I'm 2 inches shorter.
Is that a fact?
Nice talking to you.
How'd you feel about Pearl Harbor, Dick?
Maybe we'll see you at Mingeya.
Okay.
And good luck over the weekend.
Hey, nice talking to both of you guys.
Say hello
you,
to
Dick.
Tommy.
I sure will.
Take care, Dick.
Bye-bye. That was Dickie Smothers, and Anthony Newley is here. We'll be right back.
What does that mean, Jack?
What?
That, wouldn't you really rather, when the girls sing that in that commercial?
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
Oh, that's what they're saying?
Yes.
Okay, Jack.
You just have that turn of mind, don't you?
Listen, if a girl says, wouldn't you really rather? I say yes. Buick or no Buick?
Well, Anthony Newley, thank you for coming in. It's you'll see Tony on the show, by the way, the television show tomorrow night
I'm
at
looking
11
forward to
o'clock
that.
on Channel 2.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. It's been fun going through the old Tony Newley LPs.
You're very kind, Jack. Just
Enjoyed
a
it.
thrill to talk to you, and I love your city. You got a beautiful city.
And you've got to go to the Mingeya now. You're committed.
Or I'm in terrible trouble if I don't. There's that racing driver and you I'm going to meet there. Jack, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And the movie, maybe I've learned.
Please try.
Can Hieronymus Merkin forget
Mercy
Humph and find true happiness?
I'd like to, on behalf of the whole group, to hand you this diploma, Jack. You got a free seat in the front row.